Welcome to Monday's show on Devils in Red 59. My name is Steve, and we're going to talk about the headlines today, where it's come out that apparently Bruno G at Newcastle is snubbing Man United. Apparently, it's come out in a new Newcastle newspaper that apparently he's happy at Newcastle and he he's pretty much wants to give his future to Newcastle. His family is settled there, so obviously I don't know what you're making of that. You know, is that Newcastle spin uh, to make things harder for United because we know what they like to deal um, with clubs that was trying to deal last summer over Isak. I don't think for 1 minute that Newcastle are going to want to be in a situation that they was with Isak last year, where it was prolonged right up pretty much till the last minute of the transfer window before anything was done, because it makes it harder for Newcastle to obviously sell him and bring in other players when it's that late in the transfer window. Um, but at the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of interest in Newcastle players on the basis that, you know, they're out the Champions League. It doesn't look like they're going to qualify for Europe this year. So obviously, there's the likes of Anthony Gordon, Tonali, Bruno G, uh, the left back player Hill, you know, to just mention a few. So obviously, Newcastle are in a position this upcoming summer that they know there's going to be a lot of interest from a lot of different clubs for various players in their squad. So I would think that they'll want to do a deal fairly early because of FSP. You know, it's said that they probably need to raise about £60 million to comply. So obviously, I think they'll be prepared to do a deal sooner rather than later. And I think if Tonali goes, you know, to Arsenal or Liverpool or Chelsea or somebody like that, then I think they'll try pretty much to close the door on the rest of the players that've got interest from other suitors. But that, you know, that's my personal belief on the situation with Newcastle. As I say, they're not the easiest club to deal with, especially when you mention the name Manchester United, and obviously Newcastle were going for Šeško last summer, and obviously he chose us over Newcastle. So I think they'll be a bit bitter about any approaches we make for any of their players. But basically, I mean, we need to bring in this summer, I believe, a minimum of five, if not as much as seven new players. But obviously, I don't think the budget's going to be there. I mean, it has previously been spoken about in weeks gone by that the new financial rules that Manchester United could, if they wanted to, spend as much as £400 million. That means they could, doesn't mean to say they will. My personal belief on things, I think that Manchester United are probably going to, if qualified for the Champions League, they know they've got 100 million coming in there. We've got money coming in, hopefully, off Rashford. You know, the final figure hasn't yet been sorted out. You know, I mean, we're saying we want the 26 million for him, but I think if pushing comes to shoving and Barcelona keep backing off and saying, well, you know, we're only prepared to offer you 20 million for him, you know, if you don't want to accept that, we'll just take him on loan again. So that remains to be seen as to what figure will be agreed between Manchester United and Barcelona in respect to Rashford. And obviously, we've got money coming in from Rasmus Højlund, which is obviously a done deal, apparently. And I think his book value at the moment is about 28 million. So, you know, we should have somewhere between an 8 and 10 million profit out of that we can put into the transfer kitty on top of whatever we get from Rashford. And then we've got the savings of Casemiro's money. You know, with him leaving, you know, that's a large chunk, 1.2 million a month. So that soon adds up. It's a down payment on another player. And then there's the speculation about the likes of Xerxes and Ugarte leaving. So again, if they go, there might be a little bit of money that we make out of them, subject to what the book value is, and obviously a saving on their wages as well, which again can go towards a down payment on maybe another player. But as I said a few minutes ago, I personally believe that Manchester United are only going to bring in about 5 players. I don't think even if they are in a position to spend 400 million, that they'll spend it, because we all know that INEOS and the Glazers don't like spending too much money. And our transfer kitty in previous years has always been round about the 200 million or just over. I think that Manchester United, once they know they've got Champions League football, will probably set a budget with the incoming monies they know they've got coming in savings. And I think that they'll probably cap it at about 250 million. Now, if you think back to last summer when we bought Cunha and Mbeumo, I mean, those two players on their own, two number 10s, cost us in excess of 130 million. Now, obviously, it's well known that this summer we've got to do a midfield rebuild, very much needed, certainly with Casemiro going as well. And if Ugarte goes, that realistically only leaves us with Kobe Mainu. So I think that they will budget somewhere in the order of probably 130 to 140 million on two decent midfield players. There is something going around today that they believe that Manchester United are in the process of submitting a bid for Adam Walton from Crystal Palace in the region of 50 to 60 million pound. Now, obviously, Adam Walton, he played against us last week, and I mean, he was quite impressive. Now, it doesn't mean to say if we go for him first that he's our first choice midfielder and rules out the likes of Ellis Anderson. So, the players that we do bring in might not necessarily be first choices. As I say, they might just gamble on who's in a position to do a deal quickly to get them on board, and we might have to go for our number one choices a bit later in the summer window. But as I say, I think we'll spend 130, 140, 100 million on two midfield players, and I think that Manchester United will actually look at bringing through some of the academy players this year. I mean, if you look at the likes of Lacy, that's been on the fringes over recent months, he's had one or two appearances. The likes of the Fletcher twins and Obi, that's a striker. I mean, obviously under Amrin, the one season Obi did play quite a few games compared to what he's done this season. Is that because they've took this season to spend that extra time on him to get him ready for the next season? Because obviously, if we are in Europe, we're going to have the European games, we're going to have 38 Premiership games, we're going to have the Carabao Cup, we're going to have the league, the FA Cup. So, you're probably talking 70 odd games, perhaps, with all the competitions that we could be involved in. So I think some of them academy players are going to be brought through, that featured in months gone by. And I think they'll be utilised in the early stages of things like the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and they may even get some appearance in some of the league games for a few minutes, and obviously a few minutes in the Champions League games if things are going well. So I think that's where INEOS are going to be basing a lot of what they term the new incomings, by bringing through academy players that they believe now are ready to take that next step up next season and start getting minutes on the pitch with the first team. Now, obviously, if we do spend that sort of 130, 140 million in the midfield on two big names, whether that be Adam Walton and Elliott, or whether it's Adam Walton and Belabor, or Adam Walton and Stiller, or somebody like that, I think that's where we're going to be, 130, 140, 100 million on two recognised, ready to go midfielders for our midfield for next season. That would leave, if Manchester United are going to spend in the region of 250 50 million, it would leave somewhere in the order of 110 to 120 million that we will still have to spend. Now, how that money will be spent, whether we will bring in a left winger, or whether they've looked at Dorgu's contribution in the games that he played, where he was very impressive as a left winger, and he also had a game on right wing. They might be thinking, well, you know, between Cunha and Dorgu, we might be all right on the left wing using those two players. So they might just decide then the 120 or 110 million that they've got, they might just look at it and think, well, we can bring in a left back that we desperately need, and also we could probably bring in a central defender, obviously, because Martinez and De Ligt, they're very, very injury prone. I mean, Martinez, as we know, has had a long period of time out. He came back, he's played a few games, and then he went out again with what we assume to be a bit of a muscle strain, but that's been a few weeks ago now, so it makes you wonder how bad that was realistically. And the same with De Ligt. I mean, when he went out, I think he played his last game the 30th of November. It was said that he had a bit of a twinge in his back. And I mean, that's been 3 months ago now, 4 months ago. And the chances are he's not going to be back by the end of the season, you know, so he's probably going to end up missing the World Cup as well. So can we rely on the likes of Martinez and De Ligt next season? Because if we don't bring in a central defender, you can't just pile it all on Harry Maguire, because I mean, Harry Maguire's getting older. He's played well recently, but obviously I don't think he's capable of standing up and playing a straight 38 games, let alone possibly 70 games throughout the season with all the competitions. And then obviously we've got Yoro and Heaven. They're two young players, very impressive, you know, but I think they still need a bit more time to fully develop before you can class them as your main starting two number fives. So, you know, I think that INEOS may well look at it and think, well, we'll run with Dorgu as a left winger along with Cunha. If we need to, we can always use Dorgu as a left back for a game here and there. We've got Mazraoui that can play on the left. We've got Dallo that can play on the left if they're still here. So, you know, it's a situation really that we need 100% starter left back, and we need 100% starter in the central defence. So I think that 110 million may well be sort of for our back end of the team side, you know, the left back, right back, centre half. And then, as I say, just use Dorgu and Cunha as the left wing. A few minutes ago, obviously, we said, you know, about INEOS, that they will bring through the young players now because they believe in the youth. They like the players under 26. And obviously, we have got some interesting players in the academy with the likes of Lacy and the Fletcher brothers and Obi. So I think, as we said, you know, they're going to start pushing them through now onto the bench to get minutes here and there to try and develop them and force them into the first team, and if nothing else, to help bolster it. So that's really where we are with that. There was some breaking news that came out today about Šeško and Mbeumo. Apparently, in this international break, they haven't gone to join up with their national sides because they're carrying a little bit of an injury, but it's believed that they will be okay and fit for the Leeds game on the 13th of April, when we're back in action. So it's believed that them two players will be back for the Leeds game. Mazraoui missed out on the last game because he was ill. He wasn't injured. So Mazraoui has gone off to meet up with his national team to play the games that they've got to play in the international break. So, as I say, that's a lot of the news today, and that's what I think INEOS and the Glazers are likely to do in bringing through youth, and the money that they're likely to spend, and where we think the money will be spent. So in reference to Bruno G, we'll just have to wait and see, because if Manchester United do go in and make contact with the club, then I think we'll have better clarity as to whether Newcastle are prepared to do a deal, and we'll have better clarity as to whether Bruno G he's happy enough to come to Manchester United. Until that really happens, we don't know. But it's nice to see that Manchester United at the moment are making certain moves throughout this international break period. Talking to players and players' agents and so forth. So it shows that they are trying to do something, which is better than previous times where they've just sat back and nothing's gone on. And also with the manager, if Michael Carrick is going to be in the mix, and really, if you look at his record, since he's come in, he's unbeaten in the second half of the season. Well, to say he's unbeaten, he's lost one, hasn't he? But his record's very good for the second half of the season, and he's got to be in the conversation at the end of it, But he's got to go through the interview procedure with INEOS. They can't just give it him on his results that he's had so far. They've got to sit down and say, well, what's your vision for the club, Michael? And, where do you see us in the next 2 or 3 years? And what players would you like to see coming in? And what formation and vision have you got for the club? So he's got to be given that opportunity to be interviewed on that basis. Apparently, Manchester United at the moment have made contact with De Zerbi, and apparently having conversations with him. He wouldn't be my ideal first choice, but again, it's nice to see that they are making moves in this international break, not only to talk to players and agents to see what the prospect of players coming to us are, but it's also nice to see that they are making a move and making some approaches to some of the managers that they might be interested in. So obviously over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll obviously be able to see if there's other managers being approached other than De Zerbi. Hopefully the answer to that will be yes. And then hopefully by the end of the international break, they might be able to sort of shortlist it down to 2 or 3 names. And you would hope then by the end of April, probably, holding another interview with each of those 2 or 3 managers. By the end of April, they should have a clear picture in the mind as to who they're going to give the job to, because obviously potential players that we're going for, they're probably going to want to know who the manager is, as we've discussed before. So, it's in Manchester United's interest to get that nailed down as quick as possible. Again, I'd just like to thank everybody that's been viewing my videos. So don't forget to smash a like and share the video. It all helps and means a lot to me, trying to build a community. And on our last video, we mentioned that every week throughout the month of May, we will be giving away one t-shirt and one baseball cap every week throughout the course of May. Another thing that we're actually looking at as well is setting up a shop for the Devils in Red 59, where you can view and order t-shirts that we'll be doing. So hopefully be in a position that we can get that sort of up and running early summer, end of June time. So you'll be able to view what t-shirts and that we've got and what designs, etc. And if you're interested in them, obviously you'll be able to put your purchase in. And obviously we'll be doing things like coffee mugs and that as well, with the Devils in Red 59 logo on it. So keep your eyes out for that. And thank you very much to everybody, as I've just said, for viewing the videos. Please smash a like, share the video, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you've got any comments, get them in as well, because I do read the comments and reply to them. So thank you very much, and I will be doing another video on Wednesday of this week. So thank you, stay safe, and have a good couple of days. Bye-bye.